huge accomplishment for them. Talk to me a little bit about these stats, boys.
Yeah, I would say the most impressive part about this is obviously the even spread you get on this team, but also the fact that Juan Flatro is kind of meant to be the standout on this team a lot of the time. I'd say he has a lot of freedom to play the way he wants to play. He is the one player that really embodies the in-your-face playstyle constantly, but they didn't even need him to have a real standout performance. It was that team showing that we've kind of come to expect from them.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing about Juan Flatro is that, he didn't really have the best ratings. He's normally in those impact positions like Connector on Mirage, etc. But somebody like Regon, he's normally more on the extremities. To see him have really good games is honestly a big plus for Bad News Eagles here, especially when you kind of look at the way they kind of play on the CG sides. It's always really aggressive, always trying to push the sides and push down middle to try to just make it really uncomfortable for their opponents. And if they're having that type of success, I think the real test for Gamer Legion here is, can they handle that? That's going to be the ultimate question.
Well, with that aggressive play style comes hand in hand their incredible CT side performance. They have the highest win rate when it comes to their CT rounds in particular, 89% for the side of Bad News Eagles. Do you feel like this overpowering kind of play style is going to be a little bit too much for Gamer Legion, Hawker?
I am actually really interested in that. I think that CT side of Bad News Eagles is the best opportunity they have here, because Gamer Legion do have quite a few rounds where on their T side they like to try and come out on the gate. They like to try and force some of those opening fights really early. And Bad News Eagles will sometimes even just stack a lot of players together early in a round. And so if you're just on the T side going for these small skirmishes early in the round, I could actually see that being a really big win condition for the Bad News Eagles guys.
Something that's really good about the way Gamer Legion kind of approach rounds is they're not afraid to use utility right off the bat to get map control, because for them, the biggest thing is trying to get space so that they have ways to kind of work the round out so that they can maybe put pressure on one side, force a rotation somewhere, and try to punish it like that. So I really want to see, like, when those two teams try to fight for an extremity, like, what is actually going to happen? That's going to be the key point for me.
I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a meeting of the minds, butting of the heads, especially when we consider the fact that Gamer Legion themselves have a 76 win rate percentage when it comes to their T-side rounds. So I feel like it's going to kind of be butting heads, as I did mention earlier. But another player that I really want to touch upon, and one player that we heard from yesterday, was Shui himself, kind of stating that, you know what, people didn't necessarily give us enough credit heading into this tournament. Talk to me a little bit about this player in particular, boys.
Shui is honestly, obviously an in-game leader that came from Miles NXT, didn't get the call up to the main roster, but what he's been able to do so far in this tournament is constantly get entries. He has the highest entry kill percentage or rating, I think I should call it, in this tournament so far, at least as of this morning. Don't know about now, but he's not afraid to kind of get in there, use his utility, use his teammates' utility, and more importantly, the enemy's utility to kind of find the gaps in the setup and be able to get himself into really nice positions to kind of capitalize off and make the rotations hard for the CGs. So Shui, definitely the one to watch, I would say, on the T side.
I also got to say quickly, how wild is it that we have kind of two Mouse rejects on the Gamer Legion team who are also 2-0. Yeah. Mouse have just made it through 3-0. These guys are finding too many good players. They can't even keep a hold of a guy like Shui. It's wild.
I would love to see them kind of meet on the server. I think that would be an explosive performance, and both teams kind of have a lot to prove for themselves as well. I'm sure they've been a lot of non-believers, but another player that I kind of highlighted at the very start on the side of Gamer Legion was Acor, and the fact that he does have that prior major experience. So I want to check on in with Banks and see how Acor's feeling about this matchup.
I'm with Acor, from who I'm naming the Kingslayers out here. It's Gamer Legion, who have been dominating from start to finish on these tougher opponents. Now, I spoke to Apex a little bit, and he said it was more that them guys didn't play up to their level, they lost to themselves, not you beating them. But you just said to me a little while ago that these games are feeling a bit easy right now, so what is it?
I mean, it can always be the top teams not playing up to their level, so it can't be every time, I guess. So I guess we're just like, for some reason, the better team it feels easier for me to play against the better teams. I don't know why, but that's what it feels like.
I think that's a good skill to have, though, right? We'll take that. But also, I want to touch on the thing with Sui, your young in-game leader, right? 20 years old, comes from the NXT project. You guys have so much belief and confidence in him. But why is that? Because often new in-game leaders, they struggle to get that kind of presence in a team.
I mean, he plays with such a high level of confidence that like he makes a lot of space for us on the team. For me as an AWPer as well, he's doing all the entries. Like he has I think he has like an insane amount of like entry rating right now on the major. And he's so good at reading the game and putting us up, like setting us up in a very good way. So we all have a lot of confidence in him, and I think it shows on the server.
It definitely is showing. It's been very enjoyable to watch. But now, right, you said you have an easier time playing against these tougher teams. You go up against a team that's on the same kind of rise as you in BNE. What does that make you feel like going into it? Is this a comfortable team for you? Is this a more problematic team for you because of their style and their aggression?
I think BNE is like a 50-50 because you never know where they are. Like, yeah, I mean, same as us. Like, I feel like we're kind of the same team right now. We're very much on the roll right now, and just 50-50 game, I think.
What's going to be the difference maker today then?
Play our game and then just like adapting to whatever they do.
Well, let's see how it goes down. Acor, thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
I love the fact that Acor has also come to an agreement with us, unintentionally, by the way, with the fact that they're going to butt heads, they're going to have the similar play styles. It is going to be a little bit tricky. But whether or not they're able to adapt to the play style of Bad News Eagles, what do you think, Mahone? Do you think they'll be able to do it?
I think so. So far, with what I've seen from their team, and just the fact that they're able to take down bigger teams like Vitality and Knight, that's really just a testament to the open circuit that Counter-Strike has, where even if you are a partner team that might play in the ESL or Blast kind of circuit, the major is always a position where you can be any team and you have the opportunity to dethrone some of these teams that are always considered favorites. And looking at these two teams, they're both coming from a very similar position.
We got the veto coming up right now. So Bad News Eagles go for the Ancient. I think that was probably a map we could expect. Now Gamer Legion go for Mirage. That is a map that Bad News Eagles also quite like to play.
That was what I was expecting Bad News Eagles to pick, quite honestly, because it looked like they picked Mirage against everybody in the past, but Ancient, Mirage, and Inferno as the third, that's kind of what I expected. What do you think, Haka? What do you think we should see on Ancient?
I feel like this veto is actually really good for Bad News Eagles. Like you said, Ancient and Mirage are probably their two most comfortable maps. They're getting them in the first two. I wonder if Gamer Legion have kind of fallen into a bit of a trap there, but on the Ancient, I think it is obviously a map where we already expect the CT side to be strong, and that is what we expect from Bad News Eagles. I've seen games where they get 3 or 4 T rounds and they're able to just lock down the CT half, so that's really what you've got to be looking at for these guys coming into this.
Well, for the Ancient and Mirage, we've not actually seen either of these teams play them in the major thus far, so I feel like it's going to be potential question marks for a lot of these teams, especially considering the fact that Acor himself has said we're going to have to be able to adapt. We have no idea really what to expect from them, or where they're basically going to be in the middle of the round, or what their playstyle ultimately is. I'm really, really curious to get this one started. So, guys, before we wrap things up, I need to ask, who do you think is going to take this series?
I was going to say Gamer Legion coming into this, but I think that veto is really good for Bad News Eagles. I think it's going to be so hard for Shuhei to get openers on Ancient. He was huge for them against Vitality. I don't think he can do that here, though.
How about you, Mahone, really quick?
I'm still going with Gamer Legion. I think they just simply have what it takes to take down a team like BNE, so we'll see.
All right, I'm going to throw it over to our casters. We've got our best of 3 of Gamer Legion versus Bad News Eagles.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much. Yeah, Mahone, Hawker, and of course Jasmine giving you the lowdown. And we are about to download Gamer Legion and Bad News Eagles. The desk is a bit split on this one. Gamer Legion, I'm excited to get to see exactly what they have to offer, starting up on the CT side. And the Eagles on the attack. I need to hear the game.
Alex, this is a Mirage. Do they know we're casting? 4 Mirages in a row
Oh my God, yeah.
Now we're free. As, well, free like a spring chicken. Is Rigon out towards mid quite swiftly here. They have a lot of map control to work with the Eagles, and that's a shot from Acor. A big one indeed, followed up with the second blood splattered in the donut. And Kios has an absolute freebie here. This one didn't even get started for the Eagles.
Yeah, they're going to struggle to even get the bomb down here. Could go wrong, and is, and potentially will. Acor catching flak as well. Flatro snapping into a couple of heads now with the bomb ticking. Bodies are dropping, one-on-one, and a 1 bullet shy. Isaac will dance around the pillar. GXX has got the advantage and just needs to put one away. He can't hit it. A bit of a fumble. A lovely attempt from the Eagles. They flip the script and fumble.
Yeah, that is a bit of an awkward moment right there towards the tail end. But if you're Gamer Legion, and after those opening exchange, especially those two shots from Acor. They were absolute bangers in towards the donut position. You didn't convert that one, you would have been feeling very troublesome. You have to be enjoying the plant going down, though. It's going to set Bad News Eagles up in force buy territory if they would like. And the buyout for Gamer Legion, of course. Now, this is it. Final kill just there, and a good way to kick things off. Keo's loving that one, and this is the story of both of these teams. Obviously, we all know Bad News Eagles from the previous major. They ended up making it to the top 16, making it to that legend stage. Both of these teams have that available to them here today, but Gamer Legion, a new squad on everybody's radar within the circuit.
Yeah, and quickly. I mean, that's what's so interesting to me is the speed by which they have gone from being, seen as maybe a plucky contender into one to be respected. Quick shot out of that Deagle, bit of chip damage, intention into mid. It could be Keo's and should be. He's only got 9 bullets left and he's been run on down. They're on a very light pistol, but a nice frag out of GXX does get mopped up nicely. No sweat really on the brow of Gamer Legion as they'll take their 2-0 conversion.
Yeah, a little bit wobbly on the aim there initially, but all good in the hood. And now the buy will come out for the Bad News Eagles. GXX with his signature AWP. AKs for the rest in. Now look, if you are tuning into this and you're a Bad News Eagles fan, I don't need to tell you, but we're expecting them to do their best work on the CT side. That's for the uninitiated. That's for everybody else tuning in here today. We will have a curious little conversation to have, especially with Shuey and the T-side impact that he has and the, well, CT wall that the Eagles continue to put up here.
Yeah, well, I think that no one knows that better than Big Clan, as that does too. I remember checking in at halftime thinking, oh dear, and Bad News Eagles obviously not concerned. A flawless into his frags, the first two on the AK-47, and now leaving Imet in a rather dire strait. Now, does he hard clear this? There's no way Synopsy should be getting away with another one. He has 3 frags, 2 of which on 10 HP.
I think the thing is, you're not expecting Synopsy to take that risk, to take that control in towards the cave position. Right? We knew would have definitely communicated that part of the information. And for the Eagles, they're not spreading their wings right now. They're actually just taking their time, allowing Synopsy to explore into the second section of cave. Rigon's going to join him, and the rest are setting up for an execute in towards the site.
You've seen an Eagles talent, right? I mean, they look like they could do some damage on the attack.
Should be a save here.
They've done enough. I mean, this is really just a one-man band. Harmonica, cymbal, little snare.
I think a curious conversation to have about both of these teams here is what type of Counter-Strike we're going to see from them in the best of threes. Right? For Bad News Eagles especially, we know that they're a momentum-based team. We know, based off the previous major, that they can get work done. But when it comes down to the best of threes, that's when the faith starts to not dwindle, but it gets questioned, right? Yeah. And there's good reasons for that. These teams aren't on our screens every second week in the partner tournaments. And I guess that's the positive sign of all of this, is that these teams have come through the open circuit that the major does provide. And that's what's so exciting about both of these names now facing one another. Guaranteed, one of these two teams will be making their way as the second squad for today into that legend stage. Mouse were just able to topple their foe of Fnatic. That was a best of 3 that did go the distance. And, well, the NXT boys, which are going to be a conversation here today, especially with Shuey in the server, they're already locked in. He has the opportunity to do so and greet his former teammates in that next stage of play.
Yeah, really cool as well, just from that interview, Banks with Acor ahead of this game, just hearing a bit about Acor's confidence, rise in confidence, and praise for his in-game leader, Shuey. Getting a lot of praise from players very much attuned with what a good in-game leader can feel like. Rigon's across. Early presence into mid. The Eagles up and over. Very good pace behind this. And, ooh, the nade will avert Kioz's gaze. Smoke as well, but down to 50.
They do have this main control.
Oh,
don't worry about the main control, Alex. I was starting to talk about something not so important, but maybe it will come into play now. They are expecting this to be the B maneuver. Now, Shuey completely undetected here. They will not be expecting him to be around the world. So if they decide to go back through T-spawn, they will have to clear him out first. And the job for the remainder of the Gamer Legion players is to hold them in place while Shuey continues to investigate in the back turn to freebie, and he can just walk on out.
That's a lot of information. Not only has he walked through A-halls, he's cleared through mid, or at least partially. Shuey now even looking to finish the job. He's walking on right behind them. Now, there might be ships in the night in this one. Bravely, knife out, strafing through mid and pivoting to the wide open A site. Now, it's up to Isaac, puts his head in the vice. Quick snap out of Rigon. Tagged up, but bomb planted, and that's a nice just mid-round call, reacting off of that early CT push. And Shui, despite that very well-intentioned flank, it has opened up for another likely save.
That's curious right there, the fact that they respond in that fashion, because I guess there's two options for Shui. Either he continues to push or he drops back towards A. It's unlikely he lingers around mid. It was curious as well that he took down Flatro, who was the player closest towards Red House. So you're assuming, okay, maybe they haven't actually taken that control when you do find that frag. And they were correct, but outmaneuvered here by the Eagles. So a great start to draw things level 2-2. Now, I wanted to make sure I did IEM's name justice. I asked him, I said, you know, I've seen you, talking about it, and there's one that he doesn't like, so we'll avoid that. But Ime is, look, I sat there and I made sure I said it to him multiple times, look at him square in the eye just to make sure that we can do it justice here today. Because both of these teams have been doing Counter-Strike justice. They've been playing some very exciting CS.
It's one of the many reasons we love Counter-Strike is, it's not about what you say in the interviews, it's the gameplay that does the talking.
Helps if you can do the talking as well.
It's a real plus, but what we do love is that, yeah, you can, there's a lot of personality in the gameplay that Counter-Strike presents us. So quick tack timeout early doors from Gamer Legion after losing 2 consecutive rounds. Not forgetting, and I will have to lean on you for this one, in terms of the round bias and distribution of Ancient. Are we still looking at CTs with a big haul, or has there been a bit of a shift?
Well, this is the thing. I feel that the map, it is quite in flux. Like, if you look at the statistics, you take the averages, sure, right? Yeah, it's still quite a CT biased map, but in some of these matchups, the T sides, they can get out to flyers, right? I think that Ancient, which makes sense, is still evolving as the newest map in the pool, even though it feels like it's been here for a long time. But there's so many different ways that teams are able to take this map control now. They understand how powerful the CT mid takes are and avoiding those, pressuring other parts of the map. It's more of a playstyle thing, I think, and the fact that Bad News Eagles have been able to draw this back, they're likely here, if they can avoid these 3 prickly rifles, or at least foul them over, to grab themselves a 3rd in the early stages, and that's a great sign, because I think for Bad News Eagles, if they can get themselves 4 or 5 early, that means they can be off the hook a little bit more, right? They can take a few more risks, they can be that more of that flary squad. Now they are setting themselves up for an A split here. Smoke up towards B lane, one towards Red House, A-Core in towards the donut position. Silence Dem 4 in hand, and Molly in his face. Has to step forward into the fight, gets the double of the triple for A-Core, locks them down, the bomb's loose.
Well, you're talking about prickly rifles. It's A-Core who has single-handedly dispatched of the Eagles on this A-split. Rigon did slink through the smoke, though, may not be ready. A-Core unawares. Caught back, clawing back now. GXX established on the site. There may be an opportunity in towards that CT player. Lurching forward is Shui. Tucked in for now. Waiting for them to make the next move. It's Rigon as well that will look to clear out on this PR's flank, and a quick headshot out of the AK. GXX spotted, and Shui does extend. Wow, aggressive. Didn't need to, but does. Puts Gamer Legion off the back of their timeout straight back into the driving seat.
Have to give the big thumbs up to A-Core there, don't you? That little spray down, massive work from him. Just in the choke point, not expecting him, but they threw the molly, right? They were expecting a player. I think he just caught that really nice timing. So we'll watch that one again. The lineup in the low HP of Scenery, thanks to Isaac, who was baiting them in. And you saw Rigon, he made a lot of steps to try and bait that donut push. That's exactly what he was looking for, just couldn't hit the shot there. So a little bit unfortunate for poor Rigon, but they can afford another purchase here at the Eagles. And one more of these, well, it's not a default spread, but it's a slower approach. It's not straight out the gates. They're not running into this, running into the wall. Deep smoke's deployed, needs to soften up. Oof, and that one will do exactly that. Scenario and Flatro tickled on down. This isn't the fiery start I was expecting here between these two. These names in the server, I just thought they were going to stand and bang, and there's still plenty of time for exactly that. One of the keys with Synopsy's position here as well being forward, he can hear a lot of rotations if they're not careful in Legion about that shift key. Or your preference of bind. Not everybody uses shift key to walk. You know, I won't throw you all into that bucket.
Shout out to my mouse walkers out there. It's a very small club.
So much space available here for Bad News Eagles. They have all of B lane. They could go into cave if they wanted. Oh, Kios, I think he's been spotted here. I think
very forward position. Yeah, he's going to be forced wide on that, I think. Yeah, spread. Oh, bailed out from downtown. That was a long-range smoke from Ime.
The nade followed. He's on 5. Oh,
okay.
that's 2 of them. Okay. Eventually they get that necessary kill, but the rotation back now.
Yeah, I mean, mission accomplished. You know, the CTs, they don't have answers A. Isaac, I tell a lie, through mid, does shut down one, and Synopsis is next victim, and triple from the M4. Very efficient use of that magazine, and now Rigon comes a knock in. You think he may have spotted a barrel. You can see he's locked on, fixated onto Akor's position. Nade chips away at Rigon, continuing to walk. Great angle, Shui, a freebie. And that's the end of that. GXX holding on to the big zoom banger. And so, yeah, returning to the CT slew. It's 2 from GL.
I think that they're expecting a heavier rotation there, and you could tell that as well with that link in towards, that slink in towards the site, not clearing out that cubby. So hoping that there was an over-rotation towards middle or the A side of the map here. But here's the triple from Isaac, and dealing with multiple elevations. That's beautiful.
Barely even saw the third. Well, we've had some high impact. I think that's 2 back-to-back triple kills. Akor and Isaac just taking it in turns. And we actually, is that a timeout right back? It sounds like one.
Yeah, this one here called from the Bad News Eagles. So an opportunity to have a discussion. And the biggest one is, what are we going to buy around this AWP?
Yeah.
Loss bonus 2,400 into the next, I do believe. And that might mean that they'll just hold on to the AWP and some light upgrades like P250s and whatnot. So this is a chance for Gamer Legion to have a tidy 5th.
Some bric-a-brac, as we say on our little island.
Bric-a-brac?
Yeah, you know.
I was like, what not?
Yeah, you bric-a-brac, your bits and bobs. A bric-a-brac
All right,
store.
all right, fair enough.
Miscellaneous items.
Falls into that category. One of my favorite terms for that was tchotchkes.
Tchotchkes, yeah, I've heard that before.
Selling merchandise, that's what American
I loved it. I don't know if GXX does. Fires off the shot. Rigon can't finish. Shui tagged by the AWP, undeterred and fragging nicely. Kios should have the pair. Juan Flatro's always a threat, but only with a P250 here. Loud about that. Heard, and maybe an element of surprise back turn. Shui could get a Glock to the back of the head and can't quite adjust.
I don't know how you pull a round like this off. Now that he's unscoped.
A quick scope for the century here. Onto Ime and get away. Oh, okay, he hits it. Spots the other. Flashing again. Go on, GXX, you spicy man. Takes the pot shot. Rifle sounds good. Smoke, then swing. Kios has none of that. As we do see another 3-piece bargain bucket. Kios this time with a triple.
Bit of a grimace there from poor GXX. A great attempt.
Yeah.
A great attempt.
I mean, he did manifest exactly what the only way in which he got himself into a one-on-one.
Had to hit exactly that shot to make it even possible.
Also, obviously, we aren't in the comms, but like, as we said, there was a timeout into GXX going for a fast cave AWP peak. Like, that's off the beaten path, is it not?
He's got a couple of those moves. Vertigo's another map where he tries just getting these can opener type picks from AWPers that you don't see too often these days. But we're back into things, and it's not the full investment here. It's just Synopsy with the AK. The rest lying in the fight. Ooh. Down to Akor, so transitioning in a different fashion, getting towards B lane through middle. That's a little bit more, not unusual.
On an island is Isaac. No help if he does go down without a frag, and he's got one and done. Big from Flatro. Smoke is up, bomb to be planted, uncontested. Akor rotates through CT. Heavy donut presence, a whiff on the flame. Still very difficult to hold on to this one. Dribble smoke out. Into an A commit. How have they pulled that one off? I'm not even sure they know how.
That is a wild round, and this felt like there was so much urgency there to get in towards the site. So this was the opener. Synopsy removed with a minute 42 on the clock, and then Akor gets a freebie onto Scenarii, but that was after the exchange went down towards that donut position. So yeah, that urgency when it was a 2v2, just trying to smoke the bomb and get on top, that one's not going to pan out anyway.
And suddenly, yeah, Gamer Legion are the ones with a compromised buy, and now a compromised round for BNE. Aggression thrown into the mix. Ime takes down one of that B commit pack, and they are all there, gathered now, and the CTs are getting answers quick. Look, Kios, he's just walked straight through pylon, nothing home. Rigon, however, into the site, kicks open the front door. GXX onto Akor, and Ime now with, burnt alive, may have been heard, unable to deny. A pacey one here. Could end badly through the flames, the double spray, needs the fresh mags, and Opsy on the pillar. 40 HP is not ideal, does get distracted by the flash, and now a 1 versus 2 for Isaac. Not the most ideal of weapons. Buying time, goes wide. Isaac not aware of that cave reposition, and GXX will keep a lid on it. We're seeing a multi-kill madness here in day 2 of Rio. Gamer Legion concede as BNE close the gap.
Well, that's the type of Counter-Strike I think we're all expecting here today.
That's what you thought was coming
right?
first, Gunny.
Out the gate. So this time around, the back roll from the Eagles, you can see how it started. And that is a great shot there from GXX onto the flank. And Rigon, I love watching him play. He loves to get fired up, this guy.
I mean, considering you have got some cuddly teddy bears as well on the Eagles, you need someone to be raising their voice.
I think that the Synopsy, Flatro, and Rigon, those three, you know, they definitely got some fire in the belly.
And GXX and Scenario often just looking like they're happy to be here, you know?
I love the smiles on the faces.
Yeah, real gentlemen as well.
But this is the thing, and I think right now during this little economical, unless things start to get out of control, we can discuss the BNE story, right? Last time round, the fact that they make it to the top 16, this team, you know, they get the painted with the puggy brush. They don't have an organization. They're their own squad. They built this, the sticker money. This is kind of what the majors are about, right? These guys are their own boss.
Oh,
and if you can keep coming to every single major, that's all this is about. The biggest, the top of the Counter-Strike mountain here.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, everyone can understand the beauty in the juxtaposition. The fact that some of the teams they're beating on these major runs have got support staff, psychotherapists, sports massagists, massaging their gamer hands, and BNE just showing up and fragging out. I think we can all love that. Frags come through, nothing too concerning. Now, I do like him there, trying to creep and crawl. Rigon, though, with a very preemptive spray. He seems aware. And, oh, the whole squad very well switched on. And that'll do. 5-5, all tied up. And Rigon's farming frags as well. Joins GXX in the double digits early. All right, we got a game here, folks. Now, quick look at the maps as well. You can see top right, Ancient is our first BNE with the pick, and already posting 5 rounds on this T side is a good sign of life. Mirage from Gamer Legion and an Inferno third map decider, as is tradition.
I think BNE obviously have a lot of faith in this map choice, right? They're 7 on the trot on Ancient, and one of those wins was actually back during the RMR against Astralis, and they made them look silly. I was casting that match. They blew them out of the water. They made Astralis look like noobs. Like, it was a 16-3, just a drubbing. This CT side wall that they put up, they were just owning them. It was a scrim fest, a 13-2 scoreline in that first half. So the fact that they've already been able to give themselves a nice little nest egg of 5, it's not retirement time just yet, but definitely something they can look forward to. As,
and they're pandering, Chad.
Yeah, look, everybody with the Vox stickers these days.
Dear me.
To think that was in 2014, 8 years ago, everybody.
Vox Eminor. I still remember Vox Eminor Sponge offering me some dried Weetabix for its content.
Back before content was even...
Yeah, you were contenting well ahead of the curve, mate.
It's so good to see these lads in the server here today. I know the feeling that Vox was exactly what these projects are.
Oh, you're right. I can't believe we didn't even draw that comparison, but you bang on. And now, IEM Rio. Look at this dude. So early, doesn't do his diligence on the clear, leaves us in an early exchange. And it's going to keep going well for Gamer Legion. Look at Shui go. 2 swift headshots, clears the ramp, smokes the ramp, does want to try and keep throwing bullets down range, stop that bomb pickup being a walk in the park or a walk in the ramp. Should be fine for Flatro just to scoop it up. Does so and elopes silently.
A real gap here for them to access. If they head over top mid, Isaac's tucked in towards the cutout. This is a very strong position, hard to clear. Acorn needs to be careful with the steps. Doesn't want to be too noisy, might be heard. And then this command setup on the B bomb site of Ima and Shui.
I'm just so glad that water bug is gone forever.
Is it?
Isn't it?
No.
Oh, it's still there.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll talk to him when they get here. And Acor's going to have a bit of talking to him as well. See you later, Scenario.
Yes. You know what they say when you assume makes an ass out of you and me.
Okay.
I figured a year had passed. Okay, sorry.
It's all right. No. It's fine. It's fine. We'll address these things as they come out.
Yeah. When I see that Valve polo, I'm just going to hand them a short list.
Imagine if that's Valve polo. I'd like to.
They used to rock up in Valve polos, didn't they? Yeah. Look, am I making
thought they were incognito. The only thing I ever got to chat to Valve about was wall sits.
I remember like 2015 Cologne, Anders in a room with 4 dudes in blue polos.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe.
Cross.
Yeah, but and that's the angle. Shui shouldn't being the operative word be ready for. Now Synopsy, another opening death. He's going to be tutting his tongue. Shui clicking his mouse, still patrolling and maintaining control of that vital cave position. Now, Flatro has parked the bus. He has got across to the box, and perhaps will be able to be a little bit of a later addition.
Yeah, they don't need to really search for information. I love this setup that Gamer Legion are rocking right now. So the early warning system is quite clearly this position of Kios, but you can see he can just see if they get into Donut. Then you've got Acor over towards the A site playing in that... Oh, hold up a second. GXX is having a look. Do they want to transition? And the search party, Kios steps out, grabs one, and not done. The second onto...
Empathize with GXX in that position, just on scopes, a quick switch and just not enough time to get his eye to the scope. Kios, a massive multi, big double, puts Bad News Eagles into the tailspin. Scenario with the bomb and just cowering. There is a push coming, so let's see if Isaac, yeah, not ready for Scenario. So that does open up the playbook a little, but the time's still a bit awkward, is it not?
The time's the biggest issue here. I don't want to say a save, but maybe that has to be the best option. Unless Rigon can get this kill, and then maybe we have a different chit-chat, but there it is.
Yeah, conversation continues. That's a well-placed smoke. Scenario may not be ready for Acor. Now, yeah, now we talk about time again. Rigon's been great finding them entries. Boys, anything bar over the pistol, we're laughing. You know, this is juicy. We're really just sweetening the pot. I don't know if they're going to be adding anything to that pot here. It's a P250. It's 2 flashbangs. And there's Synopsy throwing them.
It's good if they're close mid, which they're not really. Kios shouldn't be, I was going to say to it throughout, but this is one of the conversations that's been had by our colleagues for a while, especially those working over in the academy leagues. But now that he's cropped up onto the main screens for everybody, everyone's having something positive to say. You know, Maniac, yeah, this kid's one for the future. I think just the way he approaches the game, he holds himself as a professional. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting prospect here.
So is this. Aggression on the ramp, and Synopsy, that Galil haunts him. He hits the first headshot, but Imir's gun's just better. More damage inflicted now. Shui finds the end of Scenario's AK. Actually, he wants to keep fighting this. He's trying to catch them in that transition on the jiggle, thinks better of it, will concede. And so Rigon mantles through, starting to regroup. 3 towards this B lane. Not want to be taking that fight first. Nice forward position. They do seem aware. GXX forward again to post his second. And yeah, Kios, sure, he's got the kit, but I think he's not interested in a 1 versus 3. Just simply no time. Yeah, 1 would be nice. And Scenario is not...
That was such a hard clear. Should be a little bit frustrated with how that one went down. Back into another buy or something close enough. Fast out mid, the mollies are there, and Scenario very fast. That's the opener.
Oh, they are fiery. There's some pace behind this. And Acor, that's ballsy. They could be flashing through, running through. Instead, though, pivot to Donut. Nice angle, doesn't get it done. Chips away at Scenario, but the A site now surely lost. Stack it up, smokes, taking some space. Rigon, though, moth to a flame, straight in to burrow into the CT corner. They'll be able to relay information if there's any loud steps stampeding through that temple rotation. Shui has gone down, and upon the fade, not clearing through. Brilliant half. All things considered, Gamer Legion 8, Bad News Eagles 7. Taken to the defense, we'll see if they can remain as indomitable as they've looked on the defensive half when we return from our break. 2-0. One of these teams is going to be locking themselves in for the next stage of competition. Gamer Legion and Bad News Eagles.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, I'll say it one more time. One of these teams about to complete the Challenger stage and do so undefeated. It's either Gamer Legion or Bad News Eagles. It puts a smile on my face as I finish that sentence.
They're definitely fringe teams here, right? But the fact they've shown up and played this type of Counter-Strike here, it hasn't been the easiest of runs. Gamer Legion had to beat Vitality, right? This is some big names. Pardon the pun for Bad News Eagles' victory, but yes, that they've had to put in the grave.
Yeah, and the odds as dead even as our first half. Love this from Rigon, and IEM, quite the opposite. In fact, I'd argue he probably hates that.
Guys, they have B lane control.
Yeah, the part of the map I was responsible for, no info anymore. Oh, Synopsy, another satisfying click out of the USP. And into the site, looking like GXX is doing the same. In fact, they're going to struggle to plant that bomb. Isaac tries his luck and a flawless CT pistol. Chad, I worry this may be a sign of what's to come. Rigon piping up, singing songs. Bad News Eagles are on the defense and they won that pistol.
And this is where they're going to do some of their absolute best work, right? So if Gamer Legion could have got the bomb down there, an early conversation to the Force by Wars could have been had. But now that they haven't, I think here it might be the humble option for the Legion. That's the bullet to the back of the dome, and that's where things started to go wrong and basically, yeah, completely went wrong. They lose the whole map at that point.
Can we call two-man immediately clearing out ramp and B lane a bit audacious on a CT pistol? I mean, that really put them in a box immediately.
Oh, okay, Synopsy, you've got players behind you as well, mate. You can't flick 180 like that.
That's drone. Oh, it's got flair to it as he leaps around. You can tell he knows what he's up against. And yeah, just the one casualty.
That's more like everybody's face-it games at home. And that's the bit about Bad News Eagles that I really love is they obviously have really good utility. They've got the communication. They know how they want to play it as a unit. But when you look at it, sometimes it just looks like a mess, but it works. And that's the magic when we get those crazy Counter-Strike moments. But this CT wall, right, Bad News Eagles being in the conversation for potentially being one of the best CT-sided teams in the whole world, right? In the CT-sided meta, that's not bad to have in your back pocket. But when you go up against Shui and his entries, well, that's where this real conversation needs to get started. Three-man mid-defense.
Love an aggressive in-game leader. Shui, this time, the opening death, it's at the hands of Rigon. And BNE, they're just happy to brawl. You want to fight early? We can fight early. GXX may go down to the walk. Never mind. Very aware of his angles. IEM deleted and BNE are heating up. This was the first gun round and it's over at 1 minute 20 without a casualty and with 2 AK upgrades for good measure. This is starting and it's going to be, for them, more and more confirmation. You know, boys, I think we might be really good at this. Yeah. Oh, we are. Oh, we definitely are. It gets like confirmation biased into existence.
Look how happy they are as well. This is what they're very animated team here.
He's even got a branded arm sleeve.
Well, that's what happens when you have your own org, Alex. You can make whatever merch you want.
Yeah.
You get to make the decision. You're your own boss. As, well, the raid boss of the Tech 9s. Quick out mid here.
Synopsy might be feeling the pressure fast. A flash turned nicely, and Rigon's already solved the problem. A triple kill on that mid-rush.
And the first was on to Shui. So right now, the opening kills, they were level coming into this round between those two individuals. 3 successful for Rigon and 3 unsuccessful. The same conversation for Shui. Now Rigon's actually ahead of Shui. Right? So 4 to 3 and then 3 to 4. You guys can work out that quick maths. But Rigon in this form is very scary. Right, some of these names, this is back when I was playing, like Flatron said they were in like the FPLCs. Like, I first retired and then I think everybody was like, oh, Sponge was a pro kind of recently, so let's let him still play. And I remember some of these names and it's crazy that journey that these guys have been on. Now in 2022, I'm talking.
I mean, they definitely got the reps in.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. This hasn't just kind of manifested overnight. This is something that comes through dedication and just a natural passion for it. Certainly helps you to remain dedicated if you love it. Shui, wow. Another on the fade. When Flatro just so aware as to the possibility for a little bit of hijinks upon the fade. Very solid smoke onto Cave, buys time. Now, this is always a sketchy one. Synopsy, he's opted to push. And Isaac, considering a clip... Oh, the timing of an angel. Synopsy just gracefully glides through as Isaac does look to leave. And just as that gap is made. Synopsy
Hard to
punishes.
believe, isn't it?
Oh, Kios is going to be frustrated about that one. Isaac too. And it's just going to go from bad to worse. Scenario boosted up, Acorn unawares, and all of that investment just going down the Swanee.
I think he's the coach of G2 now. All right, Emma, how are we going to pull this 1-on-4 off? Well, the first has been found.
Yeah, and might be the last. Rigon is coming. The Jaws theme tune starts, and it's actually a smoke headshot, obviously, from the AWP. As we all expected. Nice from Synopsy, puts them up to 12, and we are really rapidly running out of rounds. 12 already out of the gates here, 5 off the trot, off that USP flawless pistol.
And 7 consecutive if we use the 2 from the previous half. So this is looking fantastic now for the BNE. We have Mirage coming up next. Okay, got the little booties there. Let's get that shot off. And a lighter investment here again from the Gamer Legion. Tech-9, bit of armor, a couple of deagles, light util, and space again mid. This time they haven't just been completely bombarded. Chaos is up close and personal and coming through, and Synopsy blind has to run.
He
has
knows.
to tuck tail.
He knows, but he's got a good headshot into Synopsy. The helmet saves his life. Shui just tucks through. GXX unawares. Huge impact from Shui. Finally starting to get it rolling, only for a moment, as we do see a very quick response. Knee-jerk CT rotations. Deal with the threat, and yeah, this one will peter out. Just going to be Imme on that dig.
They don't know where he is at all. You can see on the radar right now that they're looking and checking everywhere, but the bomb's down in mid. Traditionally, in a situation like this, the key would be to lock that down, but the only one really close to it is Flatro. Scenario can chip in and help. Rigon floating over now. Imme, does he have a bit of a gap here to work with?
He's been intermittently checking lane.
Rigon's watching this.
Oh yeah, he's completely locked in. Here he comes back as well. Flash for the peek and a quick, snappy headshot, but about all you can write home about for them. 13, 3 rounds, all they need, and it does look like it is just business as usual.
So I just want to touch on this. It's not that Shui's not finding impact here or kills. He has 14 kills in total right now. He is leading the scoreboard for his team. Leading the server right now is Rigon on the other side, and we discussed how they were going with the head-to-heads of the entry battles. And they got the coach Ash now having a bit of a chit-chat about how things can go, and still a smile on his face. But as mentioned, Shui's been very successful in the opening kill department. And that's tournament-wide. That's not just in this specific matchup. So we're looking to see if anybody else can start to find that form if he doesn't get that opening kill. And it doesn't necessarily mean he has to go in and die and then somebody finds the trade. Maybe someone else will be able to crack things open. This was the dink from the Tech-9, the response there. Yeah, Synopsy made sure he got back to the buddy system. I don't want to be dropping an M4 over an environment like this.
Always nice to hit the shot as you're being swung and flashed in, and that's fast. Kios does go in, down and out. GXX with a miss that's punished. Now an advantage for Game Legion. They need to convert. Might be in their interest to slow things down. Of course, the Eagles can force some fights, and it looks like Scenari's done just that, walking straight through the ramp smoke into the head of Isaac, and things leveled out quickly for a moment. Flatro tested on Cave, deals with it. Rigon in mid, the jewels just keep on coming. Shui makes good use of his low HP, finding the head and charging straight into way. The util heard, Scenari alert, and cleared on the jump. Scenari given a freebie.
Oh, curious right now if Flatro is going to hear this. It was very loud from Acorn on the rotation, and Flatro has just turned around now, so... Oh, he's pulled the knife out. I don't think he did hear any of those steps, but...
Did he hear that, Chad?
He heard that.
Okay. Oh, it nearly worked out for him. He got the fight after all. Ooh, Flatro.
What was Acorn shooting at?
I don't know. I don't think he knows.
Was he seeing ghosts or something?
I think he might be, possessed. Just visualizing.
The ghost of ancients past, I think, is probably what Legion are thinking about right now.
I've never seen anything quite like that.
It's so wild as well that they make it out mid that quickly, and yeah, okay, well, all good, all good.
I mean, this is just coming a little too easy for the Eagles, is it not?
Yeah, and well, they're doing fantastically well on the CT side, so that storyline is sticking strong, or
bang,
not so strong. Shui finds an entry. Now they need the conversion.
And Shui meets his maker. It's Synopsy. Keeping level with him. 16 francs apiece for those two. And Imme undeterred, and Flatro does get caught by the Tech9 through the smoke, full commitment coming in. Synopsy 2 for the price of 1. Buy 1, get 1 free. It's nearly 3. Scenari with 2. And we do see 15. Okay, yeah, really running away with it. And he's having the happy dance. He's
They're
having
bouncing
the
off the
best
walls.
time. A few too many Haribos, I think.
Maybe not enough.
Yeah, absolutely hyperactive. They are having a whale of a time.
Charge him up, let him go. And it has been some biffy CS, and it didn't start that way.
No.
It started quite slow for Bad News Eagles, which they don't normally go in the same sentence.
Satisfying.
Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I mean, looks like it's fun for them to play as well. They are just having a party. Having an absolute party. The vibes are immaculate on Ancient. Back into aggression now. As you can see, Scenari might have to do a lot if he wants to hold this ramp. Deters now for an extra 5 seconds. Wants to get a smoke on top of it, considers it. Then the AWP in support and a flash instead. Calls it clear. Lots of moving parts now. Rigon to activate on that mid-rotate.
And all that happened, and we still have a minute 25 on the clock, and there's a mid-push coming. Like, in their face. Hey, where are you? Oh, we're coming to fight right here, right now.
They just want to end it. Like, 16 so close, and Rigon just hitting his shots. Nearly 2. Isaac limping now. Bomb and knife in hand. Does want to perhaps second-guess that. I mean, the knee-jerk reaction from Eagles is send someone A to check, but...
You can't play a traditional game of Counter-Strike here. You're not being allowed to. You're not given the room to. You're just being absolutely blown out of the server with this constant aggression. The in-your-face style of Bad News Eagles has rocked Gamer Legion here.
Yeah, faking the death cam successful, though. Both of the Eagles considering that A slip to be the likelihood, but as the util reigns in, it's a very clear indication that they might have perhaps got that one wrong. Isaac, bomb plant safely, uncontested. Retake util in the form of a smoke and an incendiary nade combo. Isaac very susceptible to that HE. On GXX. Scenari forward, Acor frag. Back and forth into the one-on-one. Loses that smoke. It would be great now on the corpse of his fallen teammate. GXX doesn't look to retrieve and actually just gonna drop the incendiary nade
That might
and
be it.
hope.
That might be it.
4, 3, 2, Acor gets it done, extends play, and through the flames, well, does fall, loses the AWP, but saves the game. We will play on here on Ancient.
But that's sacrifice, mate. That's sacrifice. That's a blood sacrifice right there. You just, look, he had to do it to win the round and stay in the game. I understand it. But now Acor has to work with a Galil. Shui has a MAC-10. Look, it's fine. You get the round. You stay alive. But it hurts, it stings, it leaves a mark. It's not what you're looking for here if you're Gamer Legion. This is an uphill battle. You need another one of those to break the Eagles.
Shui, pacey, and dead. Chaos does get the trade onto Rigon. Stops him from finding any more, but I mean, he's certainly found a fair share already. Synopsy should have Kios dead to right. Will play it passive and loses that line on the cross. The smoke's still up. Kios has slipped the net. Synopsy is going to be using his teammates' monitors as well, just for any situational awareness available. There is a presence there in Flatro, and, well, Flatro has solved the problem. Bad News Eagles just finding all the frags necessary to wrap up their map pick here. Are 2 away from closing it out in convincing fashion and maintaining this rather convincing CT side that we've been discussing.
I just can't believe how cavalier they are in these situations. That rotation from Flatro, he made steps the
here
entire time. Yeah, it's like, do you want to fight? Because I do. Like, I'm ringing the dinner bell.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm the one who's eating. What are you meant to do if you're Emma and you're Acor? You're stranded. You have mid, but you aren't close to a bomb site. You need to make it through donut towards A, up through red towards a split of either variety, or back over towards B. And well, here comes Synopsy again.
And just around the corner in time, Synopsy, though, has got their number. And looking to stamp their ticket to a 1-0. It's good. Ancient in the back. Bad News Eagles impressing us here into our second day of play. And one of these teams looking to secure a bye through to the Legend stage. That would be a whole lot of love for them. Gamer Legion is not done. Certainly not. They'll be heading to their map pick next. We've got a Mirage to look forward to after a short break. And of course, hearing from the desk.
Well, despite the 8-7 half in way of Gamer Legion, B&E were ultimately able to pick up the map victory over on Ancient. And you know what, guys? I gotta say, winning 10 consecutive back-to-back rounds is certainly not easy. What on earth went wrong for the side of Gamer Legion, only being able to pick up one mere round in the second half?
It was always going to be tough on that T side. We know that the CT side of Bad News Eagles generally is strong to begin with. Then you're going into the most CT-sided map in the pool of Ancient. Really, I wouldn't even say the game was lost for them in the second half. The first half, they probably didn't get enough rounds to begin with, and it kind of felt like we were already going towards a foregone conclusion when you don't get enough rounds throughout that CT side.
I actually thought that their T side looked underprepared to deal with what Bad News Eagles was going to deliver. Obviously, whenever you look at CT side Ancient, you always think of that lane catwalk pinch towards B short, and they just didn't really have an answer for that. The very first gun round, Bad News Eagles, they come in for that B pinch, and Gamer Legion, they had no good response for it. But something that's really annoying about Bad News Eagles is that they're a team where even if they have the man advantage, they keep pushing. They keep trying to get information. Even though it's a 4v2, somebody like Synopsy is going to keep pushing to get information and just make it so hard for a team that's like trying to find out what they even want to do in the round. And that's what makes it so hard to play against these guys on CT side.
Well, the real question for you guys is then, how do you combat that aggressive play style for the side of Bad News Eagles? Because as you did mention, even when they have man advantage, they're still pushing and they're still able to win out those fights. What would you have done differently for the side of Gamer Legion?
One of the big things about facing aggressive teams is not being afraid to use utility to try to stop the pushes right away. And that's something that we saw Gamer Legion do in their past matches. But for this one, for some reason, they kind of just felt like they could just duel them. They didn't really use the extra utility, the extra Molotovs, extra flashes to push them back in order to establish control, because once you have control, then you have more areas of positions to be able to kind of punish these CT pushes that you know for sure are coming. So that's what I would have liked to see from Gamer Legion on that T side.
How about from your perspective, Hawker?
Yeah, I think it is just that issue of looking into this matchup did kind of feel like the way Bad News Eagles play was going to have that ability. And Shuhei was still involved in quite a few of the opening fights. He wasn't winning as many, but it's not like it was going terribly for him in some of those early fights. It's just that they didn't really seem to have the follow-up behind it. And I don't know, going into the rest of this series, I look at this and think to myself, this probably was an expected win for Bad News Eagles, but just the way that the map went down, it does kind of feel like Bad News Eagles are the one who have maybe come in here just with their standard game plan and still had a bit more to go by it. I was expecting Gamer Legion to adjust a little more and have a little more of that intricacy we were talking about. I don't think we saw that in this map, sadly.
As you did mention, though, Shuhei was, yes, performing for his team, but it still wasn't the outstanding performances we've seen from the likes of Gamer Legion. We didn't necessarily see fragging out or anything of that caliber. However, when we look over to the side of Bad News Eagles, Rigon was one of those players that was certainly performing as well. Is this kind of typical to see coming out from him?
Not usually. Rigon's normally in the back of the pack where he kind of takes a back seat to somebody like Juan Flatro, but something that Rigon did really well in this game is have so many impact kills in the more mid-round situations. Like this, for example, here in this post plant, able to get those 2 kills, and as well just some of the entries that he was able to get on to the T side towards B. So really, Rigon, he's really having a great tournament so far, and this could be a dangerous Bad News Eagles team if he keeps up this form.
I would say Rigon for me is the player that stands out most for Bad News Eagles, but it's not because of the numbers. It's because this team has a really even kill distribution in general. Obviously in this map, he was more of a standout. But in general, he's not in a lot of the spots where you expect big fragging to happen. He's oftentimes playing anchor positions. He's oftentimes taking even some of those entries you were talking about here. So the fact that he's able to keep up with the rest of the team while doing that is really impressive. And also, as you pointed out, in those mid-round scenarios, I think he's so good at making those right decisions.
Yeah, obviously, as we take a look at our Air Force aim high head-to-head stats, you can obviously see that Rigon was giving us that performance that we ultimately wanted to see from the side of Gamer Legion. We wanted to end up seeing from the likes of Shui as well. Heading into the next map, though, what do you guys think Gamer Legion need to do differently? Obviously, you mentioned utility usage being absolutely imperative, but the real question is, Hawker, are you in agreement? Do you feel like the side of Gamer Legion will be able to bring this back? Because the side of Gamer Legion are notorious for their comeback stories. They've done it before. Can they do it again?
This should definitely be a closer map, but I think it is one that should still be really close heading into the Mirage. It is a very comfortable map for both teams. I think if I were looking at this matchup, I would say it definitely is better for that Gamer Legion style, where Mirage is going to be a bit more spread out in general. So instead of having those Bad News Eagles players maybe constantly pushing, Bad News Eagles will still make those plays, and it is possible for the CT aggression on Mirage, but there is also the opportunity for Gamer Legion themselves to run some of those early plays and maybe find where the stack isn't in play for Bad News Eagles. So I expect this one to actually be a really close match.
Well, today's games have been absolutely hectic. We've had best of ones, we've had best of threes, we've had some upsets along the way, we've had plenty of overtimes as well. But let's check in with Banks, as he's going to give us a little bit of an update of everything that's happened so far.
Well, I've been able to sit here and talk with some of the players, and one thing that Acor mentioned himself was that against the tougher teams, against these tier 1 teams, right, where they come in as the underdogs, it's a better suited team for them. What I just heard from the Bad News Eagles boys when I was talking to them just before they went and split after the map, you know, they said to me that going into this, it felt like Gamer Legion wanted to try and challenge them at some of this FPL style and take the fight to them a bit more, and they were just ready for it. They could not beat them at their own game. It's not something that even Bad News Eagles expect them to try. And then they were very confident, very happy that Mirage is coming up next because, well, they're probably going to start on the CT side, and, well, you look at how that's all been going. And when it comes to Rigon, Mahone, you touched on a perfect point that he's not normally the one leading the pack. You'd expect it to be someone like Flatro. For Rigon right now, his confidence was very low from a lot of these online games coming into the major. But once he got going, once he got charged up, that's where he's feeling a lot more confident, and that's where you're seeing this extra aggression, this extra focus come in from him. So if he can keep it up, it could spell a spot of bother for Gamer Legion, but it is a better suited map for Gamer Legion. Let's see if they can take us to a third.
Thank you very much there, Banks. I have a very, very bold prediction, presumption, what have you. I think Gamer Legion bring it back. I think we go 3 maps.
I totally agree with you. For Mirage, I actually want to just add on to the fact that Mirage was a map that they actually beat G2 on, so let's not forget that.
Yeah.
And also, the way that they actually won against G2 were a lot of 4-1s, and after they established some good 4-1s towards A or B, they'd throw in some fakes, so they'd make it really difficult. And I feel like if they decide to do that against Bad News Eagles, I think it would actually be a great thing to do, because normally Bad News Eagles towards the CT side, they like to kind of fight mid, use flashes towards catwalk, use one-ways towards connector, things like that. So if Gamer Legion just find a way to avoid all that stuff and just hit the extremities, I think that's going to be a win condition for them.
Well, we're certainly ready to dive on into Mirage. Now, for the sake of Hawker's pick'ems, let's find out whether or not the boys will be able to do it after this break.
You love it, you wear it. What's your style? Get your merch at shop.eslgaming.com.
pensive music as the chicken is adjusted and we prepare for map 2.
His name's Bob.
He's got a name.
Yep, Chewy called him Bob.
Bob. I mean, you know, Shuey, he's known for his naming conventions. I think he's done well there. Bob the chicken.
Chickens do Bob a bit, don't they?
They're more of honkers. You know, just like that man in the stadium.
He hasn't been here for years.
Honkers. It's hopefully going to be bonkers because we're off into the game. It is map 2, ladies and gentlemen. This is a 2-0 affair. The winner of this, whether it's 2 maps or 3, locking in a perfect run all the way to the Legends stage. BNE, of course, doing it once. Could they do it again? T-start this time for Gamer Legion. Odds favoring the Eagles as A is the target of this attack. Already targeting CT, 3 bodies across and the bomb planted. So a full 5-on-5 retake. You don't get this every day.
I thought they were going to give them CT here, but the rotation coming back around, that flash forward, it indicates that they have peered forward. Here comes the fight.
It's going to be a big one. Glock for USP. What do you fancy? What do you favor? GXX swings through. A chance squandered. Still, though, this is a power position. Synopsy good tracking. Can't quite find the second head neat. On the last bullet, he does so. Rigon, good for the first as well. All onto Isaac and swung upon. Good weapon. Rigon with a double of his own design. Well, Eagles, just enough time, just had the kit, and just the first round for their CT side. So that's both CT pistols, both maps. Certainly becoming a bit of a trend, and certainly doing it on easy mode in terms of getting strong defensive starts.
I suppose this time around for Gamer Legion, the bomb went down. So will we see a forced buy from them? That is the conversation going into round number 2 here. And you mentioned Bad News Eagles doing this in back-to-back fashion at the majors, right? The fact that these guys, and again, right, it is this storyline of going through the open qualifiers, battling through with everybody else, making it to the major. And then from there, being able to make it to the Legends stage. Back in my day, this portion of the tournament wasn't even considered the major. This was the major qualifier that we're in right now. It's been evolved, it's been adapted. This is now definitely part and parcel of the big show.
Oh, Scenari. Motor Mouth spots the whole squad and handling business. 3 from the FAMAS multi-kill master as he does look to try and finish the job on his own. It's cost him a few on the rebuy. Scenari and Flatro going to be having to do so. But yeah, mission accomplished. Nice, quick and clean. And GL going to be heading on into round 3 with the AKs.
I think Acor could even afford an AWP here if he would like. So there is a full buy on the table here for both sides of the server.
Oh, like he does. So Glass Cannon, T-side up, round 3. Scenari handled this very nicely. Quick adjustment. Knows he's going to get overrun. This is a... Yeah, I don't want to say he's overcooked the pooch, but he's put the pooch in the oven.
Well, these guys have the pooch constantly burnt, toasted. They like toasted pooch around here.
And that's GXX leaping out of the window immediately and losing his life. Shuey puts his name in the feed. Flatro down as well, and this is a quick one. Can't quite believe it. This could be over already. Yep. Wow. 1 minute 34 still read on the clock, and it's Gamer Legion with their first T round.
And they might have a bit of confidence in this map, and I can tell you why. Back over at the RMR when they played against none other than G2. Yes, one of the biggest names alongside of Astralis not to be here at the major here at IEM Rio. It was G2. In that matchup, they got dumpstered on Vertigo. They went into Mirage, and Gamer Legion blew them out of the water. This is Nico and Hunter.
Yeah.
On their actually, Nico, Hunter, and Monacy on what many would argue their home map got destroyed. It wasn't even close.
Lots up top. Flatro thinks better of it. Presence in Palace as well as mid. So interesting to see Kio's given a lot of space in order to perhaps just catch a timing on this A defense. 2 players here and set up the rifle. Perfect. Poised from Scenari. Only a couple of rifles, but both of them filling the feed. GXX gets away scot-free.
Dangerous now. Synopsys been able to pick up this AK-47.
Yeah, Isaac's starting to investigate B apps. Rigon's still there. Synopsy jiggling out, and another big headshot from Synopsy. He's been very precise here on Mirage already. That USP, now AK headshots looking very convincing. This is Isaac's contact, and he loses it to the Deagle. BNE, they came in with just a couple of rifles. It's working wonders, and it's over. Acor's AWP has been heard. I wonder if it's been scavenged. Can they do the movement? Oh, GXX, he hasn't done his parkour warm-ups. Needs to stretch a bit more before he goes for the precision.
I think unless there's a drop from Kios here, they've avoided having an AWP out into this next round to play anyway. So a big round back here from the Bad News Eagles. Breaking and entering. Go down next on the fade.
Oh, Shui really wants to fight for this. Remolly's window, takes the fight to Flatro and gets away with murder. Quick aggress, look at Synopsy, he is so untamed. 3 frags on the defense, clears out mid. GXX got Kiar's number here on the stairs position. Barrel betrays, still takes down Isaac. And so 2 of the 4 found. Kiar's, no bomb. Synopsy's going to find that, and that's about to get really awkward. Rigon may be in trouble on the cross back. No, gives up the angle. Counter-strike timing, it's a funny one sometimes, and there's the finish. Synopsy, very comfortable into our second map of play.
And this CT onslaught, right, how long is it going to continue for here when you consider what we just saw on Ancient in that second half? And now we're looking at here in the early stages. They've humbled Gamer Legion. Shui did get a kill here down towards Connector Shore, but Synopsy's just a nuisance. He was just standing ready to fight. And that fight that went down towards a ramp, Scenario had all the information. You could say that there were 2 members there, and they knew the final 2 from Gamer Legion were. And now just into some upgraded pistols here. A couple of HEs. They're going to use the top mid smoke. Now, you can either nade window, nade connector. That molly might lure them to want to nade towards window, right? You see the trajectory of that. Here they come. They're up short.
Yeah, and Synopsy is still on one. No problems. Tech9 throwing themselves through the window, and a lovely managed spray, just stopping them in their tracks. No plant and no problem for Rigon on the USP for that final headshot. 5 in quick succession now, or rather I should say 3. Of course, that third round going for that flawless T round.
Deep smoke, that's going to hold the default at bay for at least the to get away here if he ever so chooses, and that's the right decision as the flashes do come in his direction. They stall them out in mid for now. So Gamer Legion just going to feel through this round. And look at the gap that has been left open for Bad News Eagles. There's nobody B. There's nobody towards B. There's 2A and 3 around middle here. So gambling.
An informed decision or gambling? Yeah, I guess only they know that.
The answer is if you win or lose.
yeah, exactly. And well, I think Isaac might go and come investigate that B site. Just have a little sniff to see if there's anyone home. Re-smoked now into connector. So this is all looking like that typical mid control. Should enable and facilitate a short cross. Are Eagles still not considering the slip to short? Yeah, it's big from him. Onto Flatro straight through. Shui caught. Keeps us in the 4-on-4, but it's Acor that we're interested in. Rigon does fall, and now, yeah, Acor's kind of got nothing to report on the B side.
Oh, I was going to say a save here, but never mind. Synopsy found one. Keo steps out. The spray was messy, and Scenario can convert that.
How is this so close? Really hesitant. Isaac was not convinced now, leaping through, and now the bomb is lost. This has fallen apart quickly for Gamer Legion. And Scenari doesn't quite finish his meal, leaving GXX the task. Bomb through mid, loud descent out of the window, just needs 1 bullet. Doesn't choose to take the engagement immediately.
That's the round done.
And it's over.
What a weird one.
I honestly, yeah.
What a weird round from start to finish.
I don't really know how to quantify that one. And you said, well, it matters if you win or lose. So we will say, yeah, very much a calculated risk.
You can leave a bomb site open if you can stop them from getting there.
Or, well, they kind of stopped themselves. Yeah, no,
yeah,
no one
true.
actually made an active attempt.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, and this might have something to do with the fact that in this game, who's the favorite?
Am I supposed to have an answer?
Exactly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But when you think about BNE versus Big, okay, I know that Big have Sin playing instead of Favor, but I think, you know, you'd probably just lean to Big.
Oh, sure.
And
especially
then you have the conversation, Gamer Legion against Vitality. Well, Vitality are the favorites.
No doubt.
Now, well, I couldn't tell you, right? You at home have your favorite, but in this matchup right here with 2 teams and they're more underdog teams, to be in a 2-0 matchup against one another, I feel like Gamer Legion have been up against the big names. We take down Vitality, we knock out G2 at the RMR. Now we're versing Bad News Eagles, a team that we should be familiar with.
Yeah, I swear, every time we cut to those BNE reactions, you just get to feel just a little slice of what they're feeling. Oh man, that's a quick one. Rigon, straight from the top rope, a pointy elbow. into IMI, and look at this, the frags. I feel for the ops team, because there is 4 different fights in 4 different areas, all at the same time. This one's done, so bomb is lost, and Shui's death gonna be ringing in his ears. It's now Isaac trying to make a case. Ooh, and getting chipped away, those pesky silenced M4s. Very problematic through the smoke, hard to track. That's hard to believe. GXX's AWP has been floored by Acor, and that Deagle cut down now. Isaac, nice from him, puts it into one-on-one. This is crazy Counter-Strike.
Look at all the X's.
Oh my
Look
goodness.
at how many of them in that mid-corridor, window, top mid for the T side. Just absolute destruction.
We could just remove Biaps, remove Palace, and let them have a biff in mid for 15 rounds straight.
Wow, this is really getting away from Gamer Legion. The fact that they're in this massive hole already here, how are you going to dig yourself out? Look, a couple of tidy shots, sure, and they're happy to stand and bang. But I think this is where Gamer Legion should try and play more of a traditional style of CS, right? Use the clock, use the time, use your utility, because that's where they should have the little differences.
My hands up in the air, question mark, question, sir. Oh, and no damage has been done, so we do see a stop in the chat. We're going to be resetting this round, so it's perfect time for me to get my question if I haven't just let it to completely evaporate from my brain. Hold on.
I was talking about more traditional style of Counter-Strike, you know, trying...
Yes, well, last time you were advising similar things for Gamer Legion, you also then came to the conclusion that BNE weren't letting them do so. Is there other facilities in place for them to keep running it down and not allowing this default player as Mirage, and they have to play by a certain degree of the rulebook?
Well, one thing you could do is if they want to continue to fight you, don't give them the fights, first of all. So I understand on the T side, you are the ones who have to take the initiative to get
it's that word. Side. It begins with P. It's patience.
That is the virtue around here, right?
Okay.
So you could sit back in a full default spread, watch underpass, watch B apps, watch top mid passively, watch A from the apartment's position as well as the ramp, and then hope they do something aggressive. Or you could throw all this mid utility, lure them into the fact you're there, have them use all their nades, and then play more late round Counter-Strike and try and play some rotations. But they won't rotate traditionally. That's the difference, right? They're going to be a little bit more aggressive. They'll be behind you when you won't expect it. But you can sit and wait for the aggression to try and find yourself an opening pick that will come to you.
I think Acor's going to, excuse me, have a look for himself as he does bound across. I thought he was going to get a little boost up from his partner there in crime there, Kios. Instead, he's just hoping to catch a little cursory glance that Scenario is still giving him. Just the tip of the dome. Doesn't pull the trigger, but spotted out, and now things likely going to just peter out and slow down. Now you can see clear posturing on the map. Bomb, not with Acor. By showing this AWP, by firing off a shot, which he's got a very clear intention to do, he's hoping to keep the feet planted.
Yeah, there you go.
Well.
So they caught him on the push, right? So that's the opener. But how did Rigon even get there? Now another kill found. Synopsy, you gotta look everywhere, my friend. He's gonna grab one back. Shui's grabbed another as well. And okay, well, the kills keep coming. So a bit of patience has paid off in a big way.
Yeah, well, it helps when Shui's hitting shots like that. 3 down and round to the good. Well, yeah, it looked different, felt different. Gamer Legion, a must-win round, really. They have been absent here on their map pick, and now is the time. Scenario going to be just chipping away at what remains.
Don't think he'll even have a chance to save here. Acor has cornered him in. No way forward. And there it is. It's going to be the Glock for the finish. And the cash for the splash, it's, well, not good. And that's the virtue of the last few rounds. It was 2 consecutive rounds that Bad News Eagles did end up posting, but didn't have too many players staying alive. And that means that they're already strapped for cash. And this is, you know, I know you highlighted this on the full eco in the second round of play, right? Where maybe Scenario didn't need to push over the top of the stairs. They didn't need to be so overzealous in those duels. But this is where it really starts to hurt you. And look at the type of buy they've been able to pull together here. So Deagle, Scout, M4 Famus.
Oh, that's not far off the head. Whistles one past the ear of the Dane. Acor lives on and should be an open and shut case here. Round 10. It's got Gamer Legion's name all over it in Sharpie. Synopsy maybe didn't get the memo. Still has an angle for now. Isaac already dispatches of 1. Scenari gone. Isaac having a crawl. Supported by Kios. GXX late to CT. Might have a little look and a glance on the jiggles. May have been spotted out. And you can see that Kios is not in a rush. That was a T-flash over the top. And the Scout very well equipped for duels like that. Not up close. Good trade out of Rigon. Puts 1 down. Would need more. Flatro not in a position to contribute. Good tag. Rigon low and running out of health are the entire Eagles squad.
This might go overlooked here.
Ooh, with the bait from Rigon. Flatro. Yeah, flatlines. Big frag onto Acor. Lovely team play from them. They're making something out of what is essentially nothing. Flatro not ready for that, and Kios quite the opposite, quite the contrary.
I don't know what the expectation was there from Flatro, but I don't think that matters too much. Sure, we can waltz on in. They are aware that Rigon was vent room and takes the fight against Isaac, who finishes off the round and will grab the third. And this is where the House of Cards come tumbling down. That force buy, it was the only choice they really had, but now they need to take a bit of a save, and the chance for Gamer Legion to bounce back into this is on. Right now they can get themselves a very decent T-side haul. It is actually going to be the Bad News Eagles opting to take the tactical timeout to have the conversation. There's not too much you can talk about in a round like this because the high end is 2.3 and the low end is 1.9.
Yeah, it's not a buy discussion for sure, but what's the, you know, everyone's got like a signature eco stack strat. We saw Fnatic's Inferno one, which actually paid off. What's the Birchill USP eco stack call?
Oh.
Are we Aggie something? Are we going for like the kind of the Tetris tower of different angles?
Well, so it's going to have to be a gamble of one variety. I think a B stack is always nice. You
nice
boost up in that little box, right? Little box in the back.
Oh, I do like. You love that box. He's always putting me there, by the way, guys. Do you know you put your worst player on the box?
Or your best.
Yeah. Well, we all know that's not true, Chad.
But it's always a good for one position.
It is a good for one, and I do like that one every time it comes. But yes. Doesn't look like they've taken a leaf out of Birchill's eco book.
But they're going to flash and fight. That works too. Here's a flash.
And that's the fight.
And we knew they didn't have a lot of it in them. And that's, look, I don't want to say no fault of their own, but they gave it a go. They did something as a unit.
Just how the cookie crumbles.
I think we could do a whole cast in, is it Platitudes?
Platitudes. Do you know what that always reminds me of, what's the one with Jim Carrey? Bruce Almighty?
Okay, yes.
Just because he's like a news reporter, and I think, for some reason, it's so weird how the brain works. I just recall him saying, and that's the way, that's not how he sounds either. But a platitude? Is it a platitude?
A remark or statement, especially one with a moral content that has been used too often to be interesting or thoughtful.
Oh, no, Chad, that's a bit more...
That's our entire cast.
Yeah, but it's also a bit spicy, you know? Stop calling anything I say a platitude. If you wouldn't mind, I'd rather you didn't.
I didn't realize that it had the tail end on...
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, it's something that's been said so often that it's no longer smart, funny, boring, or interesting. Right, take that out of your vocab right now, young man.
Oh, dear. Okay, well, this one is not a foregone conclusion by any means.
Oh, it's not a platitude out of Birchall there.
No defuse kits, however. And that's a fact.
Okay. Gun round. All the bells, whistles, and trimmings. Early smokes will start to wane. Acor just posted on that short side. Flatro will go looking just over the edge of his own smoke. Great flash. Full flash. And Ime is there in support as well. So they are starting to pincer in. Perfectly placed Molotov. Flatro. Oh, he should be dead. How has he got lost in the smoke? They've lost him. Slips through. He's surely a dead man. Yeah, just a matter of time. Shui does confirm it. Rips the dog tags off of Flatro's neck. And tucked in onto that bench. He's happy to park the bus. That should pay off. Nice adjustment. GXX not caught off. Catches a glimpse of Ime as well. What? GXX just leaps to take the fight. Nearly found it. 9 HP, but yeah, Eagles bleeding out now. This has been Gamer Legion really just finally digging their heels in and saying, if ever there was a time, lads, it's now. T-side, arm map. Spot in the legend stage at stake. And they're making this one rather a strong case. Just an Opsy, not going to be able to contribute anything more. As he does at least meander towards the site that the bomb's been planted on.
Yeah, he'll be in the right place for an exit or two here if they do decide to escape through spawn. And Acor, with a couple of audible steps there, thinks better of exactly that, though.
He's in 2 mines. Oh,
I guess he
has
to run now.
Dead. He's a dead man. They've got to run to him. Synopsy got 2 low HP players running towards him, and he's got him booked. Acor gets away from the blast. Synopsy gets away with his M4, makes it an AK. All good in the proverbial hood.
But Gamer Legion have stopped the snowball on the CT side, right? The momentum that the Bad News Eagles were running with, they were just slowly, plucking away at it. It's not like they just stalled it out immediately. This was several rounds consecutively that got them to this point. They put them exactly where they wanted them, then they broke them, and now they're continuing to keep them in the dirt. So it will just be this AK-47 and some upgraded pistols here going into round number 13. But this is more like it from Gamer Legion. Very solid-looking first half of play here.
Yeah, especially up against that BNE brick wall we have been discussing and seeing over the course of the 2 days of play.
Yeah, and this is the key. If Bad News Eagles are unable to get themselves, let's say 9,
Yeah.
and even then it's going to be touch and go in the second half. I think the Gamer Legion are destined to take us here to a third.
I would love to see an Inferno, and that is a nice one out of Scenarii. Rigon even strung together a frag onto Shui.
I just cursed them, didn't I?
You did. That caster curse hasn't gone anywhere, and Aiko actually catches one out of Scenarii's P250. IEM spotted, big headshot, just stands and bangs. And yeah, all that potency now seems to have gone elsewhere. It's actually IEM who just wants to get this round done. Close that gap to a single round discrepancy. Nice chance for Rigon as he's filled the place and now could perhaps contest 1 and 2 out of the dig. Rigon spicy on the sidearm. Not done yet. 45, and I don't think anyone knows where Isaac's going to be coming from. If he does go for this strafe, he will be loud and heard. Flatro?
Uh-oh.
Flatro, yeah, he knows. Did he hear something? He has adjusted. And now his elbow's been spotted. We could be looking at Isaac into the 1v2 here. Flatro, no idea. Absolutely no clue. Quick tap, and there's the trade. Rigon will finish. A 4K out of Rigon on the light pistol buy. A hugely impactful round for the Eagles. And you were just talking about, you know, setting your sights on 9. He's just taken a massive leap in that direction. And even with IEM doing everything he could, this double dig is so cruel. Yeah, it hurts for Aiko.
That says it all, really, doesn't it? Yeah, that type of a round, that should have been not an IEM, but a gimme. Yeah, see, there we go.
5 out of 7.
Kind of bend that one.
Well, we take those. That's like an M&M one, you know.
The rappers, yeah. Exactly that. But look at this. Flatro in towards Sandwich. He's got support of GXX and Scenarii, and here they come.
Yeah, he's just holding W straight through, and that's with an AK-47. Should see the trade, do see it. And now swinging through with Scenarii. Doesn't finish his meal. It's too many on his plate. GXX should be a dead man. Doesn't pull the trigger through that smoke. Advantage now for this commitment. Synopsy trying to turn the tide. It's Rigon again, the difference maker. How's he got 2 when others would get 1? And it should be Synopsy to close. A big close for the 9th. BNE have managed to erect this late CT wall.
Again, and I know a lot of people probably didn't get a chance to catch it because it happened so quickly, but every single body that went down in that round was on the A site. And the fact that they rotated in so quickly, they gave them no chance to set up. Back of the head dead, traded short, steps out. They're not expecting them to play this site setup because it's been so mid-heavy. And they grabbed themselves the 9th round of play here and forced the, well, a second time out from their camp. Not from the Gamer Legion camp, so they understand how important this 10-5 is.
Yeah, these last 2 CT rounds have come down to one-on-ones. Just
We've
2
had a few of those,
1v1s back-to-back. Yeah, in fact, yeah, you're right. We've had 3 total, but a couple of those 2v1s as well for the BNE. And BNE have won through all of them. Actually, you can see, yeah, the 1v1 as well from time. But still, last round of the first half of our second map in this series. 10 available. Gamer Legion would bite your arm off for 6.
They've had some frustrating round losses here, and that's something they're going to have to overcome as a team here right in front of our very eyes. Back underway for round 15, and they want to test their luck with this A execute yet again. Flatro, same position.
Will he have the same result? And this time they're coming with Palace, which is exactly what this is designed for. He does need support in the form of ramp hold, and here they come, surely. He gets the timing perfect! 2 down, 3rd, guaranteed with the support of his squad. BNE, another massacre. The whole Gamer Legion squad just completely sent to the Shadow Realm. And double digits found. It's what the Eagles needed they wanted to keep the hopes and dreams of a 2-0 conversion and a trip to the Legend stage. Gamer Legion have to pull up their socks, tighten their laces if they want to take us to Inferno.
Hey Future Pros! Taking long on Dust 2 is one thing, but getting to the site can be a whole other challenge. With these simple smokes I'll show you, it should be no problem. You'll need 2 smokes for this one, so ask a teammate nicely to drop you one. To throw the first smoke, stand in the corner in front of the barrel, then aim at this point and running through the smoke almost instantly. Then stand at this wall, aim at this point along the line and running jump throw that smoke too. No pick control needed, and you'll be hard pressed to find a gap, so cross the site with a little bit of peace of mind.
Look into my face. Tell me now why you want to wait. Running out of words you wanna say. I've been looking for you, looking for you, looking for you.
Ten to 5, Bad News Eagles, they got a lovely close. It was very composed from Gamer Legion as they did start a little slow here on their map pick. We could see Bad News Eagles up to their usual defensive antics, but with a slew of 4 of their own on the T side, Gamer Legion managed to leave with 5. It was 3 though, back to back, put Bad News Eagles into, can I call it the driving seat? A 10-5 half. Bad News Eagles, Chad Birchall gave him a metric of about 9 in order to kind of have an opportunity to close.
And then they had a miracle round and made it 10.
Yeah.
So they have impressed here. And yeah, driver's seat for sure. I think now Gamer Legion being a map down, that extra pressure of what this matchup means. Sure, they took down Vitality. Sure, they took down 9Z. But this is for all the marbles, and that is a goosh right there.
A brutal goosh drive-by. And Synopsys already just burrowed deep into the connector stairs. Shui, big frag onto the USP. Flatro not happy with that as he puts him down. And the bomb down 2. Flank through T-spawn, interesting as well. Flatro dancing with the potential murder hole frag. Ceneri and Isaac now duking it out as well. And yeah, this is just going to be a 3-on-3 with time ticking against the CT. Isaac can't get it across the line. Good from Ceneri, extends the range with the recovered USP. And Imi not having any problems on that headshot. 2v1, no health. And not really too much hope for the CT. Bomber ticks down, nice clicks, no kit. And BNE, another pistol round in the bank.
That's 3 out of the 4 here so far, and that's the difference maker right there in this series. I think the fact that that defuse kit gets lost as well as part of the retake makes life extremely difficult there for Gamer Legion to try and piece this one together. And now they find themselves down this hole. Look, Ima saves the armor. He will be able to buy himself into a FAMAS if he'd like, and they could have a pretty tidy looking second round force, but that's the all-in shove. That's all the chips in towards the center of the table here. And, well, they aren't going to go for the force buy by any means. It is just going to be a light investment of a 5.7 at P250 up against the 5 rifles. AKs are the headlines. There's a couple of Galils. They don't need the Jutsu, the BNE side of things. And Flatro, we've overlooked the vent room position for now. I don't know if it'll come back to bite them here.
Oh, well, that should.
Put the kids to bed.
Oh, it's a horror show.
It's MA15. Actually, no, it's got an R rating right
It's
now.
well past the watershed. What's going on?
Yuck, 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 yuck.
Okay, well, that was revolting. I think they're doing everyone a favor, just getting it done. Putting the 12.
My skin's crawling. It's because I know that feeling. I've had some real bad whiffs. Mag 7, top of drop versus
You
the
can
Mongols.
still see it. You can still see it.
Ah.
Cobble drop, that Z-axis.
Oh,
It can get you, but yeah, that's a nasty one. Obviously, it's still, you know, the odds were stacked against you, but when you've got a gimme, the AK's on you, you've got chance to reposition, you're going to be kicking yourself. And so, well, yeah, 12-5, Bad News Eagles, flying start, pun absolutely not intended.
Soaring now.
Oh, bloody hell. GXX, eyes like a hawk as he looks towards window. Sorry, I'm forcing it now. Amy. Already across into A are the Eagles, 4 through, smokes up, and yeah, Imi can throw bullets through. He's chipped away on Teneri on the bench. Acor just around that gap, and Flatro's playing a dangerous game, punished for it now. Rigon down, and only Synopsy.
They missed a smoke. I think it
Yeah, well, they've got plenty where that came from. So
they can lose this.
on the bomb now, first found. Synopsy would need to do something ridiculous. With the low HP, he's sticking it. He's sticking it. He doesn't check, doesn't take the bullets. Oh no, a disaster, and Acor may have saved them. A 10-second defuse, and he has got the time. But Chad, you're absolutely bang on. Your Oracle lens was well informed. The smoke was down, he was in it, he wasn't initially tapping it, but he had all the time in the world to take the extra pickings, and down to a 1v1, Synopsy makes a round out of that.
Yeah, and still on the ropes, Gamer Legion, right? You win it, sure, but was that convincing? No, we almost dropped the ball in a big way. This was the opener from Shui here over towards middle, and then they're able to get a couple of cheeky ones, but it was a rough one, and you can see there, Rigon, he was aware that that was a plausible situation indeed, and both teams with some emissions in the buy. Teneri with a Maka, GXX with the AWP, 2 MP9s on the other side of the server here, and what's looking to be an A execute with a mid lurk from Flatro.
Kios, he's very forward here. Shadow thrown, double delivered. Can he get away? The answer's no. Synopsy at least levels the odds, and look at Flatro, straight up connector, establishing control. The A side's wide open. They don't necessarily know that. Of course, CT still a threat. No smoke on it. So Synopsy and GXX are still a little hesitant. And the frag may come to Flatro as these smokes do fade. He's been dispatched to investigate that CT side.
Wow,
smoke will be placed on Acor's position. Does he go forward to this? He does. Flatro, does he spot out on Acor? He's safe now, hidden, tucked on the stairs. A safe plant.
Acor can't do anything about this.
No, and he's going to have to wait to try and strike in unison with his other two through jungle.
But remember where it's planted, default side. GXX might get removed from the picture, but he might not matter.
Oh, that's a big one back. Acor gets it. Now, elevated position from Acor is punished. Into triple, GXX misses his first shot. Isaac aware, and GXX does not make the same mistake twice. Eagles up to 13. And I mean, you know, we were concerned for them through the lens of the Eagles that their T side may have its fair share of troubles, but winning the pistol, winning this gun round, it's put Gamer Legion on notice.
Yeah, with a crash and a bang, it's all come tumbling down here. This is rough for
Valiant
Gamer Legion
start.
now. Great start here from Kios, right? He stalls them out completely, but then the trades come back across the board, and then it's all the space that Flatro can get there through that smoke wall, and fortunate on the timing. You think a moment later, and he gets caught there, trying to slink on up deep towards that ticket position.
How many people had BNE as their 3-0?
Ah, man, there's a couple of hardcore fans out there, I'm sure. Maybe Banks, but there can't be too many.
Wow. Yeah, it's becoming more and more of a potential reality now. 3 rounds is all that separates them from the Legends stage.
Are they the new flip side?
Yeah, every time they show up, get themselves to that top 16. And yeah, we're speedrunning there. He is, of course, just on that eco, but not having any damage inflicted, no sweat on the brow.
Well, this is the first bit of resistance that Gamer Legion have had here so far during the major, right? I'll recap again. 9-0 was the opening game on Inferno. They won that 16-6. Went forward and upset Vitality, a 16-10 scoreline on Vertigo, and I believe they lost both pistols and conversions, and still able to win 16-10. That shows you just how potent their gun rounds are. And some of the key factors have been Shui on the entries, right? IEM has had some fantastic performances as well. Acor, always a impactful player. The interview with Ash, he was talking about how, you know, the main conversation of the team, at least from the pundits, or at least the fans at home, has been about Acor and Shui. But the other three, Isaac, IEM, and of course Kios here, he was giving them props, how important and vital to this team they are, the roles that they play, how everybody's selfless in this team. They're happy to jump out knowing they'll be traded. But right here, right now, it's not clicking. They're being brutalized by the Bad News Eagles, who, I cannot believe it, are going to go in back-to-back majors. They've only been at the majors twice, all of them. Every single player you see in the circuit. This is their second major, and they, in 2 consecutive majors, are looking at going to the Legend stage. That is an achievement at itself for a team that is not a partner team. It's not constantly in the circuit. It is wild.
Yeah, you certainly can't call Antwerp a flash in the pan when they show up and do it again.
No, not a fluke at all. And the cool thing is they're making this type of Counter-Strike sexy. We don't see it all the time, and there's reason for that, because consistently, when you're playing the upper echelons of Counter-Strike, you need a little more chess than checkers, but they're smashing the board and turning this into a fist fight.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's been explained to me is that when options A and B don't work, you need a C, and most of the top teams have C, D, and E. B and E might just have the 2. But right now, that's all they need.
Yeah,
I mean, it's flying. It is absolutely flying. Look at the smoke. Oh, it's perfectly obscuring for IEM. And look at that. Perfect mid-clear. IEM goes aggressive, elevates over his own smoke on that bench, finds a nice pick, and leaves GXX and Flatro just scratching their heads at the top of mid.
Yeah, it won't be an easy finish here, especially if GXX and Flatro don't get a whole lot done, and that's not to be the case. Shui drops the AWP player towards the top mid box. Now Flatro in a 1-on-5.
He'd love to take some AKs away, and 1 is all he gets. But yeah, I was about to start making a case that if ever there was a comeback discussion to be had, you want to start finding those completely clean rounds. Well, 4 still standing for them. They will have cash in the coffers if they can continue to do so.
I don't expect, unless we see Bad News Eagles bounce back right now with another round, if consecutive rounds can be posted of Gamer Legion here, this will be it's not an uphill battle. They're definitely on the way down the hill, Bad News Eagles, but it won't come easily. Right? They're going to have to jump over a couple of gorges to get this.
Yeah, and they're on Heelys and not roller skates. It's an area with some counter utilities. Just got that established if he hears a cue or gets a feeling. Flatro, that's a dangerous jiggle. He's playing with fire, baits out Acor. Information aplenty. Now, normally you'd think he fires a shot and back away. Molly will force his hand. But yeah, he was safe knowing the smoke up on ramp, wants to stick around. He is hanging around a lot more than most. Flatro may not be expecting this to be so forward to go for a re-clear. Acor, you badass, cheeky, with the aggressive AWP.
Well, they know they need to make these type of plays now. And it's not just completely individual, but a little bit outside of the box. And Isaac finds Synopsy coming through the smoke, so puts him back in his.
Okay. Making a case. We talked about those flawless CT rounds. Start nurturing the potential for a comeback.
A lot of space here. Shui is the biggest concern right now, and MS timing towards window is also a problem. Given that one over, haven't they? He only saw 1 player, and now window boosts straight through. Okay, some real issues here. Time is the biggest bonus for the Legion.
And Rigon's going straight through murder hole, and he's taken down the B defender. Shui is the only man standing on this side of the map. He's got a lot on his plate now. Rigon's come knocking, need this frag, and he's got it as well. Rigon making a strong case for 15 here. From a disadvantaged position. Bombs down. Kios and Acor to try and close the gap, otherwise 15 is secure. Kios on the walkout. GX gave up the position. Posted on short. Needs to be aware of the potential. Just gets away. Kios has to close the gap now. Cenarian support does have eyes on window. It's Acor that punishes. Now a quick shot out of Rigon, who's just doing it all right now. What a performance he's had to secure legend status. I mean, really, we've got to give him credit. What was he? He had like 27 on Ancient. Yeah, you can see he's popping off, and I would be too if I've got back-to-back 20-plus frags for a 3-0 journey into the next stage of the major.
Yeah, look at this. 26 for 13 on Ancient, and he was plus 13 overall.
Now he's 23-13.
Yeah, and they're just absolutely destroying. I was having a quick look before we got into Mirage, taking a quick look at, you know, who the heavy hitters are, and it's no surprise Rigon is the heaviest hitter.
He's a gangster. I mean, I don't know if it was his call to get himself so quickly through murder hole, because I mean, that must take some presence of mind. He just goes for it. Quick gap, CT looking elsewhere. And Isaac dead, problem solved.
This has happened quick. This happened very quick indeed. I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a struggle for them to get here. They should not have been winning a 3-on-5 scenario exactly like that, and the buy is in the bin. It's the best that they can bolster here for Gamer Legion. But Bad News Eagles, 1 round away, consecutive majors, legend stage.
And they go for something quick. Grouped up, presence in mid shown by Synopsy. Gets early info. Shui, a similar intention, as is this pair. Pushing straight up through the underpass, leaping up and calling, be cleared. That's a lot from Imi. Relaying that information will enable them to facilitate a stack. Synopsy, very aware. Great awareness. Imi cut down, a little scary, but Flatro not the same. Shui's down, 3 remain. BNE, health, they got the bomb. Just want to finish it here. The conversation, I'm sure the comms are dead serious. This is a brilliant opportunity, and they will not let it go. Bad News Eagles. 2 for 2. 2 majors for the squad. 2 trips to the legend stage secured. Energy at an all-time high, and a couple of days off secured from Rio de Janeiro.
You can see what it means to this team. This team right here grind year in, year out for exactly this event. They're not part of the circuits. They're not up there with the big boys, but they're playing like it right here, right now, and the smiles on the faces say it all. Job done, 3-0 Bad News Eagles.
One of the first teams. One of the first teams to secure it. It's the Bad News Eagles.
They join the list. FaZe, Liquid, Na'Vi, Heroic, Mouse, NIP, Ent, Spirit, and Sprout locked on in. Gamer Legion, sure, you got a couple more cracks at this one, but what a...
Wow, what a game. Rigon, obviously, many people doubted you would be able to do it twice, let alone the first time. This one, you guys felt very confident, though. Made it look easy, but it certainly wasn't easy towards the end there. Anything you want to say?
No, I think it was easy because we won the pistol, and they won some fishy rounds because they made some plays. We were not that ready for that, but it's fine. It's fine.